Just look at the ages of the founding fathers of America and when they died. My great grandfather was born in 1875. He died in 1975 at home, fully compos mentis. This is stupid. So Alzheimer's was first described it was a one-off case report from Dr. Alzheimer's that he presented at a conference in 1906. And it was brand new. No one had ever seen this before. That's why he presented this. Wow, look at this weird new case. And then it got coined Alzheimer's dementia. And now it's extremely prevalent, and deaths from Alzheimer's is on the rise, even when adjusting for age. So no, this isn't something that's been going on forever, and we just didn't notice it, or people weren't living long enough to get it. That's foolish. That's someone who's never looked at the statistics, never looked at the modal age. It's the difference between average life expectancy from birth and modal age. Modal age is what's the average age that people actually die at? How old do people get to if they die of old age? Those are different things than how long people live if they don't get killed by something, and modal age, how long people tend to live when they live to adulthood, and average life expectancy from birth, very different things. Infant mortality was like 3 out of 5, right? So you'd had to have those other two people living a very long time. A lot of people died in wars and famines in early age, and so that basically that 1 in 5 had to live a hell of a lot longer just to pull that average up to 36, 38. I think it was 38. Average life expectancy from birth was 38 in 1850. But if you lived to 10 years old, it was 60. And if you lived to 20, it was longer. And you lived to 30, it was longer, right? So if you got through those kill points in early age, people lived a very long time, right? So no, that's ridiculous. But keto has been shown. Keto is the most studied diet ever. And as Dr. Rob Sivas said in our interview the other day, that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Really interesting guy. And he was saying, I sort of mentioned that, and he was just like, it's the only diet that's been studied, because the other diets are just, have a questionnaire. You get the nurses study, and you give them a questionnaire once a year, and you say, hey, what did you eat in the last year? How the hell would you know that with any accuracy? It's just ridiculous. And so that's the quality of data on these other diets. Ketogenic diets have randomized controlled trials in large numbers with multiple health outcomes and endpoints by the thousands, right? So this is really the only really well-studied diet, certainly the most rigorously studied diet ever. And those studies have shown that a high-fat, meat-based ketogenic diet is a better treatment for Alzheimer's than every medication for Alzheimer's ever trialed. That's what the studies have shown. People are reversing Alzheimer's. And if you're going to reverse it, you can certainly prevent it by going on ketogenic diets, like a carnivore diet. It doesn't even necessarily have to be carnivore, but you just need to eat more meat, more fat. That's what your brain is made out of, like we were talking about before. And you're in ketosis, so your brain is getting ketones. It's running on its optimal fuel source. It's getting ketones in there to reconstruct into fatty acids and rebuild the structures of the brain. And you're getting nutrients like B12 that are integral for myelination of your axons, which will actually give bulk to your brain. And there was a study in 2008 out of Oxford that looked at, part of it was looking at vegans. They followed them for 5 years, looked at them on MRI, and found that their brains shrank by 5% volume. And they thought this was likely due to their critically low B12, which was 180, 190, and that's in the normal ranges now for B12, because again, we're just so deficient. Just people are going, oh, plant-based. Everyone's plant-based. People don't realize, oh, you need to go plant-based. You're already plant-based. The average Western diet is plant-based. It's like 70, 80% plants, right? And so, it's just processed plants. There's barely any meat in there. It's not the meat that's doing that. It's all the other plants and garbage that they're putting in it. Seed oils, sugars, all this crap. And, so that's what the problem is. So being on statins, why do we need to be on statins? To lower LDL. Okay, well, is LDL actually a problem? I don't think it is. I think the evidence is very clear that this was just a scapegoat. There's no serious scientist actually independently said, I think cholesterol is a really big problem here. It was the sugar companies who came up with that. And then they found people like Ansel Keys and other professors, 3 from Harvard in particular. One became the head of the USDA, who they could buy off and say, hey, you need to push this. We want to get this out there that cholesterol causes heart disease. And they're like, sure, my integrity is non-existent. I'll be happy to. And so they did that. And we know they did that because we have their contracts. We have the internal memos from the sugar companies saying that they did this. And so, this is a matter of record. It's not a conjecture. It's not up for debate. You don't need a study or a flyer or a survey from nurses once a year to figure that out. We have this documented. This is a known entity. And so cholesterol was never the problem. And they keep shifting the goalposts. They said, oh, total cholesterol, that's the problem. Then you have all these different kinds of cholesterol. And they're like, okay, there's good cholesterol and there's bad cholesterol. And that didn't really work out either. There's 100 different kinds of LDL cholesterol. And okay, well, maybe this one, maybe that one. No, they're all bad. And maybe this. And now they're like, okay, well, that's not really holding up either, because people with higher cholesterol, LDL cholesterol of any description, live longer. I'm like, ooh, okay. And there's inverse correlations in some studies with total cholesterol and cardiovascular death, like the Framingham study. That's what their actual data showed, but it was misreported by the AHA, American Heart Association, who was being paid off by the sugar companies to lie and say that it was the opposite, and that higher cholesterol, higher cardiovascular mortality rate. In fact, it was the opposite: lower total cholesterol, higher cardiovascular mortality rate. And so they went, oh, okay, well, that's not, well, now it's ApoB. Oh, ApoB. Oh my God. It's just, they're just banging the same drum. And every time you just show how full of shit they are, they just move to the next thing, It's just classic misdirection. They're just it's just red herrings. They're just trying to keep you looking over here. Don't mind the man behind the curtain. Just look over here. It's nonsense. And the sooner we just get away from this and just say, look, it's bullshit. It was always bullshit. It's bullshit now. We're not talking about it. The sooner this goes away. If we keep just playing this game and they keep saying, well, but it's this, well, but it's this, well, but it's this, we're never going to get anywhere. Right? So we just stop talking to these people.